Hey, how's it going, all you lovely people at Shut Door or Door Shutter, coming back to you with a brand new episode of All the Mods 9. And quickly behind me, I did some stuff off camera. Well, not off camera, but the recording just did not end up well. It was very incoherent and it really jumped back and forth. So I am fully awake and not having as many problems as I was having in the previous recording. But yeah, let's get into what I did. So first things first, we have heavy water production. Heavy water is an electric pump with a filter upgrade in it. That's all this is. You then power it. You can put your speed energy upgrades. And then, of course, you want to pipe out the top. So the sides have a power side, which this is required to be the power side. And then the top is the output side. And then, of course, the bottom has to be facing a fluid block. So we did quite a few of those. And so we've got plenty of heavy water in here. Well, we had plenty of water until I activated the DT fuel stuff, but we'll get into that. So this is here because we have what is called applied mechanistics set up down here. So a completely different AE2 system that is basically a large chemical tank for us. So we have 256K ME storage cells, which all of these are partitioned using a cell workbench. Hence the partition include precise thing right there. So I can actually pull one of these out. So let's just pull out the DT fuel one. And if I throw this into a cell workbench, I can actually go and grab, for example, I have like tritium over here, right? I can grab these out of JEI as long as they're chemicals, because this is a chemical storage cell from Applied Mechanistics. And I can just drag and drop. So this would partition this drive to be DT fuel and tritium. One of the things you have to note is it's not going to partition it evenly unless you go and grab an equal distribution card. That way you'd be able to partition this properly. So we're going to get rid of that one. So it'll be just DT fuel and it'll fill the entire cell with no problem. Okay? So very simple rundown on that. But we also do have a fluid cell because heavy water, of course, is a fluid and not a gas or chemical. So keep that in mind. But we've got lithium, we've got tritium, we've got deuterium, or deuterium, yeah, whatever. And then, of course, the DT fuel. So I also do have a terminal here that tells us how much is actually in this one. So we've got 6,707 buckets of DT fuel, 7,100 and something of deuterium, 76,000 buckets of lithium, and 177,000 buckets of tritium. So this is kind of the same thing we've been doing for a while now with Mekanism. We take heavy water, or a liquid in this case, and we throw it in an electrolytic separator that then gives us the deuterium. That deuterium is then pulled out of the top, and only the deuterium is pulled out. The oxygen stays in here. It's got dumping excess on each machine. And then that goes into the interface. And then, of course, we have the entangled block here. So if we need to move this around, which is actually what we do, we put it on the other end alongside the tritium one. And that is just pulled out of our system whenever it's needed. And, of course, this is actually the least amount in our system. And it's probably less and less so because we still haven't fully got enough heavy water to sustain this. I will be adding more layers of that, probably between like a segment, because I want to get more DT fuel before we do anything. Okay, so of course, tritium, deuterium, and those go into a chemical infuser. And as you can see right now, the deuterium is not enough. Or did this break? It looks like it did not properly work. Okay. So now we've got that set. So deuterium is going in, so DT fuel. So this should start rapidly decreasing, which is not great, but it's all we can do. Okay. So we also have a problem with the tritium. We'll fix that here in a second that I noticed. But DT fuel is piping out into here, and that's all connected through a wireless connection point or connector. This thing right here connects this to that and all around. So that's fantastic. Which one is this? So this is the lithium one. And this... Is that right? Yeah, export. And then this one here is correct. and this one here is correct. Okay, so export, export, and this one is wrong. This is actually an import bus, and I noticed that whenever I was about to start recording. So, export bus, and then cable, and then these things, and then we can grab tritium, and we just make sure that it's set to input. Right? That should be correct. Because all of these other ones are working. Okay, so, just wanted to look at some things here real quick. So yes, this is actually working now. This was not working previously. We did need to switch this over to an export bus. One of the problems, though, is we really aren't making enough tritium. And we don't have enough lithium to really increase the capacity of this stuff. As you can see, we're kind of balanced out on lithium down here. Like, everything it's staying about where it should be. And one thing is, I also expanded the lithium. This was off camera before I attempted the first recording session. And I did expand a lot of the evaporation chambers. And it looks like this one is backed up. Why are you not doing anything? Did I break something? Are these not having upgrades? Ah, there's an issue. I just noticed it because of the full tank. You can see, like, visually, you can see brine and water inside these things if you look close enough. So I don't think any of these other ones are having issues. So let me get some speed upgrades and energy upgrades. It's a good thing I did a flyby. Did these have... These don't have it either. So I'm kind of wondering why this one's not... Oh, it is full. Oh, fantastic. Okay, upgrades. Okay, so that's more like it. These guys should be producing pretty quickly. Of course, we won't be able to visually see it because it should be pumped out immediately, piped into this, and then pushed into this temp lithium entangled block, or entangleporter. Goodness gracious, I always get those confused. And then it's pushed down into the actual extended interface. So we've kind of got everything networked down into the applied energistic systems. Maybe not like the smoothest way to do it, but it's okay. So we should see lithium. So it's still kind of balancing, which is good. We've got, of course, tritium should be gaining a little bit. And then, of course, deuterium is just deteriorating at a very quick rate. So what I'm going to do is real quick, I'm going to work on getting some more layers of the heavy water set up. And actually, I want to show you guys how to do this a little bit because I think it's good to know, just because it is a little bit of a pain, because once you have like flux networks and wireless power, every single one of these pumps does get water in it once you set it down because it's got power, so it's going to immediately pull water. And I want to show you guys how to fix that real quick, so be right back. Alrighty, so let's get this started. So first things first, I just placed a line of blocks here, so that way I can face them all towards the pipe that I'm going to be placing, or the cable in this case. Each one of these segments, so this row and this row is 32 in total. So I've made 32 electric pumps, 64 filters, because I've made 2 sets, right? But 32 of them will go on one side, and then 32 on the other. So let's grab the pump. There we go. So let's just whittle that down to 32. Perfect. And remember, every one of these we place is going to have a little bit of power in it. So every one of them is going to have water in it. It's not going to be complicated. All you need is a fluid trash can. You may throw away some heavy water. Oh well, not that big of a deal. So just filter upgrades just like so. Shift clicking as we go down. And I should end up with 32 at the end of this. Okay. And then, of course, you could grab your other upgrades, which speed and energy. And you can run through just like you just did and put all these in. Alrighty. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a fluid trash can. And of course, if you only have like one pump, you can just grab the gauge dropper, and you can go in here and you can just left click, and that'll grab your water that's in there. Shift right click to empty it, and you're golden. But with having several of these, what we're going to do is we're just going to grab some mechanical pipes, and these will auto output. All pumps will. So you'll see water start flowing. And of course, there shouldn't be any more energy left in them. They should basically burn themselves out. So that's good. And then after that, we can actually just grab a wrench, and we can pick up our trash can. And then we can leave these pipes here because you need them in the first place. So it's kind of a good thing. So we're going to do that on the exact same way on the other side. Oop. And I accidentally just placed that one down there. And then we're just going to put the trash can here. Ultimate mechanical pipe. And I think I actually need this here anyway. Okay, and then of course we're just going to run cable all the way down middle, which I'm actually just going to tap into. See if I can tap into this cable. Perfect. And then we can just run this down, and you should be able to see the heavy water coming down center. So that's starting to fill up. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to push this down to 1, and then just pipe through. Okay? And that should, route everything through the interface. We should have heavy water being a little bit more abundant. I'm going to need several more layers, by the way. These things aren't great. They're not terrible. They're just not great on what they do. Even with all the upgrades, I mean, it's still pretty slow. So I'm going to add the next set here. And also, if you don't set these down like the, how I had them, like the block, you can actually just go to the rotate mode on the configurator and just click whichever side you need. So shift right click, because right click will not work, and that'll move it to where you need to. It's a fantastic feature. Absolutely love it. Be right back. Okay, so I have went overboard. Well, not really overboard, because this is still not enough. Yeah, these 18 chemical infusers is not enough with even all these electric pumps. So, like, this is not even, there's no buffer. Like, all of these electrolytic separators here, there's 18 of these here, and there's 18 chemical infusers. This, nothing. It's getting like, what, 20 millibuckets per? So this cannot keep up. So what I need to do is I need to just keep adding until we either get an overflow or till I break something. Yeah. Well, good thing I got the copy and paste gadget and could just do this. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Already, I've put so many of these down, but if I have to keep going, I'm just going to do it. We're going to get enough to not have to worry about the DT fuel ever running out. I'm going to probably overpower the heavy water and probably have too much heavy water compared to the tritium, or the deuterium, I guess, because the deuterium will have too much of and the tritium we won't have enough of. But I would prefer that, especially because it seems like this is the most used, in a sense, because you have to put so many of these down. At least the evaporation chambers are keeping up a little bit, at least. Well, this is it's just gone, right? Every time it's used, it's gone, gone, gone. There's no buffer. It's immediately, it's not going to be enough. So, I'm going to put, I think, 2 more layers down, see where that gets us, update you guys, and then if it's not enough, I'll keep going. Alrighty, so I've actually got to the point where the deuterium is stable. There's always like 270 millibuckets per machine, and there's always 270 deuterium. The problem is now is tritium. We don't make enough lithium, and I knew this was an issue, and I figured we'd get to that point. But there's not much I can do about it. I would have to make, I think, probably about 10-fold more than I already have over here, and that's a lot. A lot of work, to say the least, because of course I would have to replicate all of these different systems, And it's just an absurd amount of work. Um, and I don't think there's any way that I can improve these further, right? I mean, like, I could probably get a warden or two over here, but I don't even know if the warden actually can spawn in here. And I could attach it to this, but I would have to kind of speed up everything here, and that's a lot of work even. So I don't think that's gonna work either. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just call it good on DT fuel for now. I think we're good enough. I mean, how many is it? 188 buckets? 188,000 buckets, right? Um, I think that should be golden. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this, just normal DT fuel. For some reason, it's not telling me what I need to do, but that's okay. I know what I need to do. Hollow ROM, is that what that thing's called? What is it called? Halo ROM? Mechanism. I'll have to find the object because I can't remember what it's called right now. This thing right here. Holorum. Okay, well, I was close. We need to make this real quick. So 1 gold and some coal. So let's go home. So let's grab gold. I think it needs to be gold dust. Like, specifically gold dust. Right? So 4 gold dust. And then 1 piece of coal, I think. Let's actually make sure. So if we look here, so 1 piece of coal should be perfect. Okay. And I don't know if I actually have a metallurgic infuser that I can just use. So I may have to just use one of these guys. That should be fine. And then we should get the holorum. How do I spell this? Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to need to go get just a simple metallurgic infuser to infuse this DT fuel into this. I don't remember how much this actually takes. This is telling you how you're supposed to use the fusion reactor. I think... Do we actually just need to separate the fuel? I don't think so. We'll see. Because I've always just piped in DT fuel directly, usually. So we'll try that. So mech area. Or fly up and out. And what I want to do is just grab metallurgic infuser, set that here. And on the left side, or is this not the right machine? Let me look into this real quick. Okay, I was doing this wrong. It tells me just to do this. So is it... It says 10 units of DT fuel. So let's do this. And then do this. Okay, there we go. So that is how you do that. I just completely forgot, apparently. We'll set that back. So this was the wrong machine. That's okay. But you guys did see that there is a building fusion reactor tab. And you, of course, can change all of this stuff. We're not doing water-cooled. I don't think I've ever done water-cooled. So passive generation, 100k FE. Steam production. So this would just be like if you wanted to make something like a steam turbine factory. Like an absolute ton of the water-cooled system. You could do it it would just be ridiculous. Like 200,000 kilobuckets. So if I increase the rate to like 20, let's see. So 20. So that gives us like 2 million buckets. Is that like 2 mega buckets? I don't know what unit that would be, but that would be probably nuts. And this would generate 1 million FE. So if I went back and I took this off. Oh, you can actually not use reactor glass? I did not know that. Okay. 4 MFE for non-water cooled. The fuel tank will be 1 bucket. Energy capacity of 400 million FE. So of course we'd want logic adapters, right? And then it looks like every 2 injection rate, you go up 0.20. So if we could squeeze 30 out of this, I think that would be fantastic. But I'm not 100% sure. So what I need to do is go set up some auto crafting and make sure that we're able to even get everything first. I'm hoping we have a stable enough system to do at least one. But this should outperform our current power room by a ton. That's the plan at least. Because I actually don't know fully what this room generates. I think I calculated it at one point. But I think, you know, we've got the power storage stuff over here, which I actually added 2 more cells to recently. We're going to need all of this power, and I don't even remember why. I think for antimatter, right? I have to look. So all the power, this is a new one, apparently. Cool. That is interesting. Yeah, they've done some quest changes and stuff. So I may not have all the quests done by the end of this series, and it looks like that'll be fine. So I know we need antimatter. That's one reason we're going to get into this. And I believe there was another, but I am really forgetting it right now. So we're just going to do it. Let me get some auto crafting stuff done. Oh yeah, this stuff. That's why. Because we need like 1 billion FE per tick, or per operation, to get these, like, all the modium stuff. Yeah, that is why. Now I remember. And of course we could do mana, or the mana infuser, or terrestrial agglomeration plate stuff. But yeah, we're just going to do Fusion Reactor. And that should basically give us enough power to do this as much as we want, auto-craft it all, and call it a day. So that's what we're doing. So let me grab the stuff. I think, can I just go in here and can I just... Oh, I should be able to do it right here. Perfect. And also, I don't think this tells you, but we also do need Mekanism's laser system. So we need laser amplifiers, laser tractor beams, and lasers. And the laser focus matrix is just where this laser beam is going to shoot. Because basically what happens is you take a laser, which is just a ton of power, and shoot it directly into this holorum that then starts the fusion reactor, and then that is how it starts. Okay, so this is your main component that you need to build first, and then you can build the fusion reactor. Once everything's got enough power, then you'll be able to fire it with a redstone signal, and then you'll be able to start generating power. So it costs power to make power. Be right back. Okay, so real quick, I'm still looking at all the fusion reactor stuff, but I was looking at the wiki just to make sure I'm not missing anything vital. So there's a portion of this fusion reactor wiki article from Mekanism Wiki. It says, as stated above, producing 1,000 millibuckets per tick or more of DT fuel is necessary to maximize the power production of your fusion reactor. The section lists the necessary setup to do so. 50 electric pumps with filter upgrades, 1 electrolytic separator, 6 thermal evaporation plants with 5 producing brine and 1 producing lithium, 3 rotary condensators, several recessant heaters, ideally 6, 55 electric pumps without filter installed, a large number of solar neutron activators, see below to calculate how many, 2 chemical infusers, a large number of ultimate pressurized tubes, or a few dynamic tanks to store lithium and tritium. All machines are fully upgraded with speed and energy upgrades. All brine towers are full size with 11 electric pumps supplying each with water. The lithium tower must be a full size as well. All towers must have a recessive heater, each set to at least a 1250 FE per tick usage. Solar neutron activators are the main concerns of this setup, as their production speeds can vary wildly with their biome position, time, and weather. It may be a good idea to check the production of one unit in clear sky at noon. Place enough units to reach 500 millibuckets per tick. Production in total. Then over double the number to account for rainy/thundering days and nighttime. A large tritium reservoir is mandatory to account for the influence of weather and time. If this setup fails at the point to deliver 1000 millibuckets per tick of DT fuel, the reactor will instantly shut down. Okay. So, we've got some things that are cut out, right? Like, we basically have, I think, what? So this thing says 50, right? To produce 1,000, okay? So, as of current, we had, I think, what, 5 layers? Here, let's go check. I'm just curious, and then we'll get into this, because I didn't see this before whenever I was actually starting this build. Okay, so we have, as of current, 36 thermal evaporation chambers. 18 of those are water, and 18 of those are brine, right? So that's, first off, absolutely nuts. And it looks like, yeah, so we've got these all cruising, okay? And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 full layers of electrolytic pumps, or electric pumps, not electrolytic. So that is 6 times, I believe I said 64. So that's 384 electric pumps. And then, of course, we just kind of went smaller with the actual electrolytic separators. But this thing only says that we need, where does it say? 1 electrolytic separator and then 2 chemical infusers. We overshot by a little bit. Just a smidgen. And remember, we're in the Aether, so the weather, all that stuff, doesn't matter. We always have lithium on hand, and, I mean, I think we always have lithium on hand. I'm pretty sure we're probably running out down here. Actually, it looks like it's kind of stabilized. Because I think it's, like, at the baseline. Yeah, it's right at that baseline, so basically, it's always going to be trying to keep to that 5,000, 6,000. So yeah, we are cruising. We have definitely got more than 1,000. So let's get into this here real quick. Let me get the recipes, get the platform built that we're putting it on, and we'll be right back. All right, let's get this going here. So, first things first, we're going to start with the tractor beam, or the laser, really. I actually need to, I've got a guide over here. I'm using the wiki, which is always a good thing. If you don't know something and you want to learn it, there's usually a good wiki. And if there's not, the mod might be questionable. Or there might be answers out there on Reddit or various other forums. Just kind of, stay away from things like 9 Minecraft and, and if you are in servers that people, play modded Minecraft, and you could always just maybe ask them. I love answering questions, and if I don't know, I will admit that I don't know. It's just one of those things, right? So we're going to do redstone normal. So we need to turn that to normal. Okay? So what we should be able to do is whenever we want this to fire, now, since we set this to normal, is once this has enough RF or FE, it needs 1 GFE to start. Okay? So basically half full. And how we're going to do this is I've got a backpack here full of little lasers that we're going to focus into a laser tractor beam. At least I believe this is how we're supposed to do it. It's been a minute, but we're going to try this. Okay, so I think what we'll try... We might get interrupted here because of the cloud looking things. So I think that red beam is where we're supposed to be pointing this towards the center point. I think that's on both of these. So let's do rotate. Why are you not? Oh, there he goes. Okay. So how am I going to place this properly? Like that? Okay. Nope, that did not place properly either. Did it now place? Okay. So what we're going to do, and we're going to need a ton of cables for this, is see how that just went? So it went here, through here, into the laser amplifier. And now if we were to press this, that beam, that's the laser. Okay? So we're basically going to have to do this several more times to then be able to get all of the goodness into the main point. Okay? And then, of course, to connect these, you just need to run cables. Nothing too complicated. They just go under the actual laser point. So, ultimate universal cable. Just like that. Okay? And then you would just want to make sure they're going into a laser tractor beam to make sure that they are going where you need them to and they're not wasting power. So that. Man, these, I don't like how we have to rotate them. I wish there was a way like create where if you shift click, it'll go the opposite direction. I think it's create. It's either create or industrial foregoing. I can't remember which one. But yeah, let me get all these done, get them all placed, and then I'll wait till we get the 1 GFE. I'm just going to attach a flux point to these, but to this cable, by the way. That's how I'm going to power this. And then that should pull from our AE2 system, which should hopefully provide us enough power to do the shenanigans. Alrighty, so we ended up with something like this. I've got a couple more lasers. I could probably set down at least one more tractor beam, but I'm going to call this good for now. So we're cruising, right? I've set some of these to be like double the speed or 128 times X for the time in a bottle. Just kind of use that up so we could actually speed this up just a little bit. But yeah, this is a lot of power. I think this is technically 1 billion FE. So just keep that in mind. And also the lasers are loud, usually. So we're actually just going to mute that and then turn it down a little bit. Also, they do hurt if you stand in front of them. So I'd advise not to. And I think they could actually break blocks if I'm not wrong. So if you ever wanted to make a very complicated block breaker, you could go ahead and do it. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to wait. And then we'll come back next episode, and we'll get the fusion reactor going. I know this episode really hasn't been too eventful, but we've got DT fuel all up and going. We kind of cleaned up a little bit of it as well off camera. And I'm hoping that we will be able to just get straight up a overflow of DT fuel pumped into this thing and straight up have an overabundance of power. That's the goal at least. Because I want to have a whole bunch of those alloys available for all the Mods 9 Star. And I think once that happens, once we get this power, our power system is going to be reserved while this is the main system, right? This is where it's at. And I think I also need to look at how this is chunk loaded, because I think this is actually going to be considered out of the range, but I don't even know where I put the chunk loader. I have a chunk loader, I just don't know what I did with it. So I might just place another one over yonder by the actual fusion stuff, fusion reactor. So that way I can, I guess I don't need all this loaded. So just this portion, okay? And then that way we'll be good. So let me be back next episode, which might be a little bit because I have been enjoying FTB Neotech quite a bit. And, you know, I love this pack, but we have been playing it for a while. I need something fresh every once in a while. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay awesome. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.